everyone and welcome to Raj Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbhi Sardana and today we are going to discuss a very important topic regarding Saudi-Iranian Normalisation, the recent agreement that has happened between Saudi Arabia and Iran, which has been brokered by China or which has been mediated by China. China ने mediator का role play किया है and this is a historic agreement. It has been called a historic agreement. So we'll look at the details of this agreement. We will see why there was a rivalry between both the countries, Saudi Arabia and Iran में rivalry क्यों थी अब तक and agreement की details क्या है. We will also see that what are the implications of this agreement on the global geopolitics, especially on countries like India. India के लिए क्या implications है and what is the way forward for India. So let's start this discussion. This was the recent agreement from the past few days. It has been in news in like various newspapers, editorials, they have been discussing it. So yes, what is the agreement? On March 10, this agreement happened. Two of West Asia's major powers. देखिए क्या कह रहे हैं West Asia की जो दो बड़ी powers हैं. One of them is Saudi Arabia and the second one is Iran. Saudi Arabia and Iran signed an agreement in Beijing, China, to re-establish diplomatic ties, respect each other's sovereignty and maintain non-interference in each other's domestic affairs. तो basically एक truce agreement है. Truce agreement वो होता है जहाँ पर पिछली जो भी लड़ाई होती है उसको ख़त्म किया जाता है and आगे एक peaceful world order establish करने की बात की जाती है. So this is a truce agreement that has been signed by both the countries and this agreement was signed in China. Now it is for the first time ever in history that such a great agreement has been signed in China. आप अगर पिछली century देखें, if you look at the previous century and the 2 decades of this century itself, जितने भी mediation वाले agreements होते थे, they were brokered either by United Nations or United States of America, mostly by United States of America. And Iran ऐसी country है. Iran is such a country on which USA has its eyes. USA हमेशा चौकन्ना रहता है कि ईरान क्या स्टेप्स ले रहा है, whether it is enriching its nuclear fuel, uranium enrich किया जा रहा है, ईरान क्या nuclear bomb develop कर रहा है. And on the other hand, Saudi Arabia is a country which depends on USA for its military imports. Saudi Arabia अपने military imports USA से लेता है. So why these two countries had to go to China or why did China had to intervene to mediate a truce agreement between both the nations? So that is being questioned and it has also been put into perspective that either the coming agreements जो कि world order की demand है, जो कि geopolitics की demand है, will the coming agreements will also be mediated by China. So is China the new emerging global leader जैसे पहले USA होता था? Is China replacing USA? And what is the situation looking like and what are the implications for India? So first of all, let's look at the details of this agreement. हम लोग map पे सारी locations देखेंगे. We will look at the historic ties and the historic rivalry of both the countries. So this agreement basically इसने क्या किया है? This agreement ends 7 years of diplomatic estrangement between the two Gulf neighbors. 7 years से इन दो countries, Saudi Arabia and Iran के बीच कोई भी relations नहीं थे. जो भी relations थे, they were war-like. It was a cold war-like situation between both the countries. तो वो जो situation थी वो अब end हो चुकी है with this agreement. China has portrayed itself as the broker of the agreement and China's senior diplomat congratulated the two countries on their wisdom. So yes, under the agreement announced on Friday, Iran and Saudi Arabia will patch up the 7-year split by reviewing a security cooperation pact. Security cooperation pact sign किया जाए, review किया जाएगा. They will reopen their embassies. Their embassies in the respective countries. इन countries की जो एक दूसरे की geographical area में embassies थी वो function नहीं कर रही थी 7 साल से. So they will reopen embassies in each other's countries within 2 months and resume trade, investment and cultural accords. So this is the statement coming, this is the agreement and this is the landmark agreement that we have seen. First of all, and Let's look at the location of these two countries. These two countries, both of them, they are based in West Asia. So obviously you know the location of India and China. China is a part of Eastern Asia, as you can see here, and India is considered a part of Southern Asia. So here, as you can see, this area in your green here, which is towards west of India, this is known as Western Asia. इस area को हम लोग Western Asia कहते हैं. This is your Persian Gulf. This area is your Persian Gulf. और यहाँ पर जितनी countries हैं, there are two major importances of Persian Gulf. आपकी ये oil producing countries हैं, crude oil. Are 84% of requirements of crude oil, when we talk about India, they are met through oil imports, and majority of these oil imports, these are coming from Persian countries only. In Saudi Arabia and Iran for a long time, these have been major producers of oil or major exporters of oil for India, not just for India but for the rest of the world, for India and China majorly. तो ये जो आपका Western Asia है, यहाँ पर आप देखिए, this is the location of Saudi Arabia. This boundary that I'm drawing here, this is basically the boundary of Saudi Arabia, and here is your Iran. ईरान यहाँ पर है, इस एरिया में है. एंड जो बाकी एरियाज़ है, फॉर एग्जांपल सीरिया इज़ देयर. सीरिया में आपके रेबल ग्रुप्स बहुत एक्टिव रहते हैं, वहाँ पर पीसफुल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स नहीं है. विद द मेडिटेरियन सी यू हैव इज़राइल हियर. इज़राइल यहाँ पर है, वहाँ पर पैलेस्टीन में बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोटेस्ट होते रहते हैं. हियर यू हैव यमन. यमन में भी हूथी रिबल्स एक्टिव हैं. सो बेसिकली दिस एरिया वेस्टर्न एशिया इज़ नॉट अ पीसफुल एरिया. यहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा शांति नहीं रहती, बट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज, स्पेशली क्रूड ऑयल which is in demand for countries like India and China. तो वेस्टर्न एशिया में पीस रहना, वेस्टर्न एशिया में अगर शांति रहेगी, अच्छे रिलेशंस कंट्रीज में आपस में रहेंगे, तो जो आपके क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइसेस हैं, जो क्रूड ऑयल की अवेलेबिलिटी है, दैट विल ऑब्वियसली बी वेरी स्मूथ. सेकेंडली, दिस वेस्टर्न एशिया इट हैज़ लिंक्स फॉर ग्लोबल ट्रेड. तो अगर यहाँ पर कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होती है, आपका जो ट्रेड जो इंडिया या चाइना की तरफ जा रहा होता है, वो इम्पैक्ट हो जाता है. योर ट्रेड रूट्स गेट इम्पैक्टेड इफ देयर आर प्रॉब्लम्स इन द पर्शियन गल्फ रीजन और दिस यमन region which connects the Suez Canal through Red Sea. तो आपका through your Gulf of Aden, यहाँ से आपका Suez Canal आता है. So these are basically choke points, international trade के choke points, कि अगर ये बंद हो गए तो आपका trade, international trade रुक जाएगा. So yes, now since you've seen the location of Iran, you've seen the location of Saudi Arabia with respect to India and China, let's look at this map in detail. So this is a magnified map. This is your Saudi Arabia in orange, and on the top of it, beyond this Persian Gulf, is your Iran. So yes, what is the rivalry? सऊदी अरेबिया और ईरान के रिलेशंस अच्छे क्यों नहीं थे और अब ये अग्रीमेंट क्यों साइन किया गया है? सो बेसिकली द राइवलरी हैज़ बीन रूटेड इन इस्लामिक सेक्टेरियनिज्म. व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट इस्लामिक सेक्टेरियनिज्म, व्हाट डू आई मीन बाय दैट? So basically ईरान में आपके शिया मुस्लिम्स हैं एंड आपके सऊदी अरेबिया में सुन्नी मुस्लिम्स हैं. So basically what they are working for, what they are fighting for is they have a competition with each other for regional dominance. जो आपका वेस्ट एशिया वाला region है, which we just saw, these both countries have been competing with each other. These both are very big countries. दोनों के पास oil reserves बहुत अच्छे हैं, so they can compete in the international market. So what they want is regionally they want to emerge as leaders. Plus उनका जो religion views हैं शियाज और सुन्नीस के काफ़ी अलग हैं. So that's why it is a victory for their religious views as well if they emerge as leaders. So there is this competition for regional dominance. Now what happened in 2016? 2016 में एक क्रिटिक होते थे सऊदी अरेबिया के, सऊदी अरेबियन रेजिम के क्रिटिक थे. इनका नाम था Nimr Bakir al-Nimr. He was beheaded by the Saudi Arabian people. He was beheaded by the Saudi Arabian regime. Saudi Arabia में उनको मार दिया गया, and that was supported by the government of Saudi Arabia since he was a critic of the government. So in 2016, since he was beheaded and he was a Shia Muslim, so he was supported in Iran not because just because he was Shia, but because he was very critical of the Saudi Arabian policies and principles. So what happened? So when he was beheaded, ईरान में जो सऊदी अरेबिया की एम्बेसी थी, the embassy of Saudi Arabia in Iran, it was attacked by protesters. So in 2016, Saudi embassy in Iran was attacked by protesters, and since 2016, embassies of both the countries, एक दूसरे की countries में जो इन्होंने embassies establish की हुई हैं, they were not functioning at all. So now what was the thing? We saw the location of Yemen and I told you that there are Houthi rebels in Yemen. And Yemen का क्या है? If you go back, if you look at the map closely, Yemen is having direct boundary with Saudi Arabia. तो अगर Yemen में जो situation है वो peaceful नहीं है, whom will it impact directly? So Yemen में you have Houthi rebels. Houthis are there. Houthis are rebel groups in Yemen, and this is very important. We'll discuss a MCQ with regards to rebel groups in West Asia. So these are basically supported by Iran. Now Yemen is directly connected with Saudi Arabia, and when these rebel groups, they got support in the form of weapons through Iran, Saudi Arabia did not like it because there were a lot of casualties in Saudi Arabia because of these Houthis. So Saudi Arabia wants peace in Yemen, but Iran was not letting that happen. So yes, it was seen that Iran supplied weapons to Houthi rebels in Yemen, which killed Saudi population. Not only this, there was in 2019 सस्पेक्टेड इरानियन एजेंट्स अटैक्ट सऊदी ऑयल फैसिलिटीज़, जो ऑयल फील्ड्स हैं सऊदी अरेबिया के 2019 में उन पर अटैक किए गए थे. अगर आपके ऑयल फील्ड्स पर अटैक हो जाता है तो आपका जो क्रूड ऑयल है वही ऑयल वेल्स में ही बर्न हो जाता है, और ऑयल वेल्स बर्न अप देयर, सो दैट इज़ अ क्राइसिस सिचुएशन फॉर द कंट्री. इट्स अ डिजास्टर. प्लस यू कैन नॉट यूज़ दैट क्रूड ऑयल फॉर एक्सपोर्ट, तो आपकी इकोनॉमी डायरेक्टली इम्पैक्ट होती है. सो इन 2019 योर Saudi oil facilities, they were directly impacted because they were attacked by Iranian agents. Now this was about the rivalry. Let's have a close look at it. So basically this is Iran, this is Iraq. इराक में जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज या पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स हैं, many of these are Shia leaders हैं, so they're running in parallel or in agreement with Iran. So Iran has a control over Iraq also, or a partial control, and here it has a control over Yemen because of the Houthi rebels it has been supporting. So yes. Now why this agreement has been signed? अगर इतना problem चल रहा है, and if the religious views are very different and so much devastation has happened in the past, so many attacks have happened in the past, then what are the benefits for Iran? Why has Iran agreed to sign this truce agreement? First of all, if you're aware, Iran has been sanctioned by USA under CAATSA Act. उनका जो joint comprehensive plan of action regarding the Iran nuclear deal, under which they are allowed to enrich uranium to produce electricity with the help of uranium. That agreement was stalled by the Donald Trump government a few years back. So जब का Iran nuclear deal है, उस पर अभी कोई भी developments नहीं हो रही हैं. Iran was cornered by United States of America. United States of America ने जो countering American adversaries through sanctions act है, उसके अंडर ईरान को एक country माना है. And if any other country trades with Iran or establishes good relations with Iran, America will take actions against that country. So CAATSA की वजह से और ईरान न्यूक्लियर डील के स्टॉल होने की वजह से या रुक जाने की वजह से Iran has been cornered. So Iran is looking for solutions for to feed its people, to generate employment, to provide jobs, to secure its women now. So what are the benefits for Iran? So Iran is going through one of the toughest phase of economic isolation and domestic pressure. Domestic pressure because a lot of feminism movement is rising there. So many people in Iran itself, they are against the Iranian regime. So it has to find out new solutions. It has to find out new partners because economic isolation जो है वो USA की वजह से impose कर दी गई है. Secondly, Iran knows that getting a reprieve from Western sanctions, here we are talking about USA mostly, कि उन sanctions से reprieve मिलना बहुत मुश्किल है. It is not a near-term possibility. And at home, despite its crackdown, protests refuse to die down. तो उसके पास domestic conflicts भी बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. Its economy is deteriorating and its currency, the rial, is struggling. So Iran wanted Chinese investment. China की खासियत है, China has the technology available, China has finances available. So whichever country is in good relations with China, China goes there, builds new kind of infrastructure, invests there. Those investment are based on loans, but still at least एक economy को major push मिल जाता है. Plus China is a power that stands in direct competition with United States of America. So if China is supporting Iran, so Iran can actually sail through these tough times. So yes, a deal with Saudi Arabia under China's mediation could open economic lifelines for Iran. That's rare, and strategically Iran knows that such a deal could complicate American effort to rally Arabian countries and Israel against it. So इस ईरान को कॉर्नर करना अमेरिका के लिए बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. अरब कंट्रीज जो कि यूनाइटेड स्टेट सपोर्ट कर रहा था that all Arab countries should come together and corner Iran, that would become very tough for USA now. So China alone represents 30% of Iran's total international trade. तो आपका जो 30% ईरान का international trade है, that is happening through China only. So China remains an important country. So yes, for Iran the agreement comes as it accelerates the nuclear program after 2 years of failed US attempts to revive a 2015 deal that aimed to stop Tehran from producing a nuclear bomb. See, recently there was news around a few days back. देखिए जो आपका यूरेनियम होता है, न्यूक्लियर फ्यूल होता है, if you enrich it up to 90%, जो आपका नेचुरल यूरेनियम होता है, दैट इज उसमें जो एक्चुअली आपका फिजाइल मटेरियल की मात्रा होती है, फिजाइल मटेरियल की परसेंटेज होती है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा कम होती है. तो उसको आप डायरेक्टली ना तो आप न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर में यूज़ कर सकते हो, ना आप न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब बना सकते हो. इफ़ यू कैरी आउट 3% एनरिचमेंट, मतलब 3% आप यूरेनियम 235 डेवलप कर रहे हो यूरेनियम में, देन यू कैन यूज़ दिस इन अ न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर. दिस कैन बी यूज्ड इन अ न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर. So this much enrichment, 3 to 5% enrichment, this was allowed to Iran under the Iran nuclear deal or your joint comprehensive plan of action. But what Iran did, USA found out that Iran has enriched uranium up to 86%. So that is the concentration of uranium 235. They have enriched it to up to 86%. So 86% क्या है? If you reach 90%, you can develop an atom bomb. So that is the sad side of it. That's why there were sanctions on Iran. Your International Atomic Energy Agency, उनके जो officers हैं, they visited Iran to check their nuclear facilities कि कितने enrichment हुआ है. Because if Iran has their nuclear bomb, it would be a threat for the entire world. So now since Iran wants to pursue its nuclear program, so it needs support of China, क्योंकि USA या और जो Western nations हैं, European nations, they will not be supporting it and hence they will impose sanctions on it. So now let's quickly look at what are the benefits for Saudi Arabia. देखिए Saudi Arabia directly connected है आपका जो Western Asia है, most countries के साथ Saudi Arabia border share करता है. So since Saudi Arabia has borders with most of the countries in West Asia, that's why establishment of peace in West Asia is very much important. Secondly, your coming in of Mohammed bin Salman as the leader. इनका एक Vision 2030 document है. In this Vision 2030 document of Saudi Arabia that happened, that came out after the upcoming of this new leader of Saudi Arabia. तो इस vision में ये क्या कहना चाहते हैं? They want that Saudi Arabia should not be dependent only on oil or crude oil for its economy. It should also be dependent on tourism, technical development, technological advancement, and a better society. So attracting tourism, foreign investment, drawing millions of experts to the kingdom and turning it into a global hub for business and culture. So basically Saudi Arabia का जो Vision 2030 है, that is very much different from what it was previously. तो वो oil के ऊपर dependent नहीं रहेंगे. They want tourism also, they want business also, they want technology also. For that they need peace in the region and hence Saudi Arabia has signed this agreement. Furthermore, it has also led to Saudi Arabia moving away from the singular influence of United States in its foreign policy. See, just remember that USA actually quit its operations in Afghanistan and Afghanistan was left into the hands of Taliban. Afghanistan में जितनी problems emerge हुई Taliban regime की वजह से और जो अभी हो रही हैं, the entire world, especially West Asian countries and major countries like Saudi Arabia, they have been looking at it. So now they don't trust USA for defending them or for the long run or for sorting out any problems. So they brought in China. Also, China is Saudi Arabia's largest oil export market. So obviously they cannot do away with China. China is the best partner for Saudi Arabia right now. So yes. Now what are the benefits for China? China ने क्यों interlocutor का या mediator का काम किया है? First of all, stability in West Asia, that is a major energy source, is essential for China, which is world's largest oil importer. China पूरी दुनिया का सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ा वर्ल्ड इंपोर्टर है और इसका जो मेजॉरिटी ऑयल इंपोर्ट्स हैं वेस्ट एशिया से आते हैं. सो स्टेबिलिटी इन दिस रीजन इज़ ऑफ वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंस, पैरामाउंट इंपॉर्टेंस. ऑल्सो दिस एड्स टू द परसेप्शन दैट Chinese power and influence around the world and it contributes to a narrative of a shrinking US global presence. Since China is in close competition with United States of America, USA और China competing ends पर हैं. तो अगर China ये soft diplomacy वाला route भी ले लेता है, if it serves as a mediator between those any two countries, for which USA was playing the role earlier, so it will actually increase the prestige of China as a global leader. Thirdly, it is crucial for realization of China's Belt and Road Initiative. China का जो Belt and Road Initiative है, West Asia is a major part of it. So first of all, fuel. Second, soft diplomacy. Third, your Belt and Road Initiative, because यहाँ से आपको logistics, connectivity, investment आपको सब देखने को मिलेगा if your West Asia is peaceful and if West Asia is in your favor. So these are the following. These are the major benefits for China that have come up. Now. Yes, these are leaders of China. These on this hand you have leaders of Saudi Arabia, and on this hand you have leaders of Iran. Before the agreement or when the agreement was signed, this is a picture from that time. So yes, what is the role of USA? Obviously USA का जो role है वो कम होता जा रहा है. जितना पहले USA का role हमें देखने को मिलता था वो अब नहीं है. So on the soil of USA as well, citizens in USA have been questioning what is the leadership role that our government is playing, because for like centuries USA has played the role of a leader. Not for centuries, especially after the World War II. दुनिया में कहीं पर भी प्रॉब्लम होती थी, कोई कंट्री न्यूक्लियर बॉम्ब डेवलप कर रहा है, कहीं पर कोई अटैक होने वाला है, कहीं पर टेररिस्ट ग्रुप्स किसी कंट्री को इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हैं, इट वाज ऑलवेज यूएसए दैट केम फॉर प्रोटेक्शन एंड दैट केम फॉर मीडिएशन. सो नाउ सिंस यूएसए हैज़ बीन क्विटिंग फ्रॉम वेस्ट एशिया, इट क्विट फ्रॉम अफगानिस्तान ऑल्सो. सो नाउ द रोल ऑफ यूएसए and the global leader of the future, that is under question. And if China emerges as a global leader, this will be a problem for India, because we have a lot of boundary disputes with China. Also, we have already had a war with China and we do not want to repeat such a situation. So India cannot sit calmly. So role of USA, basically this agreement confirms the Arab states are prepared to pursue their interest without United States involvement. And this is largely the result of increasing regional disenchantment with the US as a security provider, alongside strong messages from Washington that it was less enthusiastic about being the regional security guarantor. Not just these countries in West Asia, Saudi Arabia या ईरान ही नहीं, बाकी जो countries हैं West Asia की वो भी बहुत disenchanted हैं US की policies से, US की involvement से, the steps of USA that it has taken in the previous century and these 2 decades in all over the world. Secondly, USA is also quitting. Thirdly, USA's military failures in Iraq and Afghanistan contributed to the loss of its credibility among its general allies. So USA could not have brokered this agreement. USA ये agreement करवा ही नहीं सकता था because it is not in conversation, it is not in talking terms with Iran, since it is against the Iran nuclear deal, or since Iran is enriching uranium to a certain level of making an atom bomb. So it wasn't possible for USA to broker this agreement. So yes, this was the picture from the agreement. This is leaders from China and Iran and Saudi Arabia. So finally, we come to the most important part of this video. After this, we'll discuss an MCQ. What are the implications for India? See, to put it very lightly, China has very well made it clear that its engagement, China का जो engagement West Asia में आने वाले time में बढ़ने वाला है, and China has clearly has made it very clear that it will play a more active role in West Asia in establishing peace in West Asia in the coming times. So अगर West Asia में China ज़्यादा role play कर रहा है तो उसका जो Belt and Road Initiative है, and which India is very much against because it passes through your Pakistan occupied Kashmir area, POK area. So that Belt and Road Initiative, that will get a major boost. So India has to be prepared for it. Secondly, what we can do is we can engage with China. West Asia सिर्फ China के लिए important नहीं है, it is important for India also because major oil exports, major trade हमारा वहीं से आता है. West Asian countries हमें oil provide करती हैं, and India has had good relations with Iran and Saudi Arabia both. Historically हमारे दोनों countries के साथ अच्छे relations रहे हैं. And when this CAATSA Act happened, जब USA ने sanctions impose किए थे ईरान के ऊपर through the CAATSA Act, so India actually gave up on its relations on Iran overnight. हमारा कितना crude oil import ईरान से आता था, कितने fruits and vegetables आते थे. There were so many students of Iran who were studying in India, so we had very good relations. There was this Chabahar port that India was developing exclusively. अब Chabahar port में सिर्फ इंडिया का नहीं, चाइना का भी presence है. Chabahar was an answer to Gwadar port of China in Pakistan. So now, you know, it is very crucial for India that we engage China in this region. We engage with China in this region, and we move together. You know, both of the countries should move together and establish peace in West Asia. क्योंकि अगर इस इन countries में riots होते रहे, protest होते रहे, और if we are not engaged very well with these countries, तो हम like Indians को बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान है, because USA will keep pressurizing us for not having good relations with Iran. So this is something that can be positive for India as well. So yes, India will need to engage with China in West Asia, where the two countries have shared interest of energy security. This is majorly your oil that we are talking about, free and open sea lanes, logistical connectivity, and above all regional stability. यहाँ पर कोई भी problem होती है, India would be impacted, USA will not be impacted. So it is in high interest of India that we engage with China to establish peace in West Asia. Here they can work together to further mutual and regional interest. So yes, now this is the question that we have for today. Try out this question. Consider the following militant groups and countries they are operational in. So यहाँ पे हमने Houthis discuss किया है. There will be a lot of questions in UPSC prelims जहाँ पर आपको एक option का आंसर पता होगा, शायद बाकी दो नहीं पता होंगे, और ऐसे questions में आपको थोड़ा सा guesswork, थोड़ा intelligent guesswork आपको करना पड़ेगा. So the first one is Al-Shabaab Palestine, the second one is Houthis Yemen, and the third one is Boko Haram in Nigeria. See, if you have been following the current affairs, Houthis are based in Yemen. Houthis are the rebel groups in Yemen. This is very clear. So at 2, option number 2 is very much there, and it will be there in the all of the above also. So I'll be marking here कि चारों में से कोई भी option हो सकता है based on our knowledge. Second one is Al-Shabaab in Palestine or Boko Haram in Nigeria. See, if you have been, you know, keeping yourself abreast with current affairs, you'll definitely recognize that Al-Shabaab is based in Somalia. Al-Shabaab is the rebel group of Somalia. This is wrong here. So your 1 is basically deleted, and what you have left is just B and C. And your Boko Haram is based in Nigeria, which is very much true. So hence the answer for this question is C. Houthis in Yemen, your Boko Haram in Nigeria, and Al-Shabaab in Somalia, which is actually Al-Qaeda's affiliated group. So yes, this was the discussion for today. I hope this helps you for your civil services journey. Stay tuned to our channel, and all the very best for your journey.